It's time to get the comic book retrospective crew back together. Today we're talking about DC Comics, and here with me as always is award-winning comic book editor Joe Corella. How you doing, Joe?
I'm all right, Wes. How are you?
I'm doing well. I kind of noticed that people are just calling you Corallo now. Did you drop the first name, or are you so cool that people just know your last name? What happened?
It's probably because there's already too many Joes in comics, but, I'll take the compliment.
Well, somebody who always goes by two names, Eric Breed, the man so cool they called the Breed, the voice of the voiceless, the comic book quarter. How you doing?
I'm doing well, and in the spirit of this story, Joe's going to promote himself 3 times, and by the end of this, he will be Pulitzer Prize winning comic book writer.
I love that bit in this comic so much.
That is the best, one of the best parts about this comic. We're going to talk about this amazing Superman Shazam story. DC Comics presents annual number 3, September of 1984. Roy Thomas, Julius Schwartz, Gil Kane, Joey Cavalieri, Gil Kane art. This thing is fantastic. And Breed, at one time, Shazam was bigger than Superman, his biggest rival, and he was outselling the original superheroes we know.
Yes, and amazingly, that was before my time.
No way.
That was the 40s. And I think that might have had something to do with why National ended up suing them for believing it to be too close to Superman. Because it was like, if you can't beat him, sue him.
A lot of litigation around this character Shazam. Obviously, he was originally called Captain Marvel, Joe, but Marvel got upset about that. They said they wanted their own Captain Marvel, and then he could only be referred to as Shazam from now on.
You know what else is really funny? Just a little bit of trivia for people. They did eventually, not long into Captain Marvel's existence, put out a Captain Marvel #1 comic. It came out in 1941, and the team that worked on that comic was Joe Simon and Jack Kirby, who that same year put out another comic about another captain in a #1 issue.
Little Captain America.
Yeah, but that didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, no, it's a shame, though. I think that had a lot of potential. But.
Kind of a famous cover, but kind of started that trend where you have covers that don't have anything to do with what's inside the comic book. My goodness. Joe Simon and Jack Kirby, how could you do this to us? So this is a fantastic story. It's really good. Roy Thomas, obviously very well known for his time at Marvel. Certainly he did go over to the competition. I believe he had a following out with Jim Shooter. A lot of people had a falling out with Jim Shooter. Ended up going to the competition and did some really good work. Here we get this wonderful Shazam Superman story. At the beginning, we see Dr. Silvana in New York City, and Superman comes to the call and decides to defend the city. Normally, we would have expected to see Shazam there, Joe.
It's cool because we don't know it's Dr. Silvana in that first page. So it's like, it's Superman fighting a giant robot, and then shortly into the battle, Superman uses his X-ray vision, one of his more popular superpowers, as opposed to like super heart massage, and he figures out that it's Dr. Silvana. This is still pre-crisis. This is still where they're all like painfully aware of all the other different universes and parallel worlds. And for people who might not be as familiar, the Shazam family, that's all from Earth S. So Dr. Silvana would have been coming here from there and challenging Superman.
It does not go well for him. Actually, Superman kind of kicks his butt and sends him packing. Unfortunately, along the way, Breed, because Superman, he doesn't want him to go. He's like, I'm not going to let him go back. But he hears that this woman is in peril. Something's about to fall on her after the big fight that they had in New York City. So he has to leave Dr. Silvana so he can go and escape back to where he came from. And he's able to save this woman, but Dr. Silvana makes it out kind of scot-free, and he's got a plan. Apparently, he has put the wizard Shazam under a spell, and he's sleeping, and he knows, at least he's concocted this plan, that the next time Billy Batson says Shazam, that he's going to get the powers too because he's done something. What the hell did he do, Breed?
He does what evil scientists do. He found a way to siphon off the power of Shazam. I said he's incapacitated. Somehow that meant that when next time Billy Batson said it, half of it would go to him, I guess.
The wizard being incapacitated is actually kind of important to the story because as soon as he wakes up, this time frame or this opportunity for Dr. Silvana to do something is going to be over and he's going to take advantage of it. So we do see Billy Batson he's coerced, Joe. He doesn't want to say Shazam, but he's forced to because Dr. Silvana basically says he's going to destroy the world. If Shazam doesn't come out, obviously he kind of escapes. He says the word, and we see 2 lightning bolts, one to go to Billy Batson, one to go to Dr. Silvana. And apparently Dr. Silvana got all the really powerful stuff, and Billy Batson got the leftovers, and he beats his ass. It's not very close.
No. But yeah, we really see Dr. Silvana really going for it. These are really dynamic pages too. That fight scene, which I think this is like some top-notch, layouts in terms of just all the kinetic energy here. And
eventually he does beat Shazam, but he's flying off with him, and we see Mary Marvel, the other boy, they see him, and they use their Shazam power, so they're going after him, and he's going to the Rock of Eternity. And this is a diabolical plan, Breed. We see that the wizard he's under that spell. He's still sleeping. Dr. Silvana kind of talks crap, and there's a lot of crap talking going on in this comic book. He talks some crap to Shazam, and then buries him in the Rock of Eternity. Obviously, the Shazam family shows up, and he, I don't know, I guess he tricks them, and they end up going into the past and into the future while Dr. Silvana is still there. And somehow, when he has Shazam powers, Breed, he can actually start traveling between multiverses, which is something I don't think Billy Batson could do.
No, but that was not uncommon for DC, whatever the plot dictated. Yeah, but my question is, if he had all these awesome powers all of a sudden, couldn't he have at least fixed his vision? Because he's still wearing those Coke bottles.
Yes.
Part of his look.
I guess that's. I might have made myself a little more handsome too, but I guess that's just me.
Yeah. Nice full head of hair.
Yeah, I mean that's it. I mean, you gave him the body. Why not the head? Go with it.
Yeah.
So he does decide to use these newborn powers, and he's kind of bragging about how there's not enough air left. Shazam's definitely going to die, and then he remembers, well, the wizard's still asleep, and I still got time, and there's only one man out there that could stop me. I need to go beat Superman, who just kicked my butt. And then we kind of see this multiversal traveling power that Silvana has, and at this point, I think he's promoted himself to Captain Silvana, or maybe even Major Silvana. That's where the ongoing gags that's going on. So he ends up in Earth 2. I don't think Dr. Silvana realized that, or at Major Silvana at this point. But he ends up on Earth 2. We see an older-looking Superman who doesn't work for the Daily Planet, but with the Daily Star, I believe. And he gets him out, and they have a nice big fight. And he kicks his ass, too. He ends up taking him into space, putting him on an asteroid that's got a bunch of kryptonite on it. And then he steals some extra kryptonite to kill the Superman in his own world, Joe. This stuff's diabolical.
Oh, yeah. And again, you get incredible layouts. Pages 24, 25, 26. These, they're just like they're going at it. And, Dr. Silvana uses science or whatever to figure out there's kryptonite nearby. And he just puts Superman of Earth 2 right on a kryptonite meteor. And, Superman's in a bit of trouble there.
And he scoops up a handful of other kryptonite so he can go kill his Earth Superman. He ends up going back. And all this time, Billy Batson can see this. As Shazam, he hasn't turned himself back into the boy, but he's witnessing this, but he feels powerless. And he's like, he's kind of naming off all the powers that he has that have been taken from him. And then he kind of gets this vision, or he gets visited by all the gods whose powers have been lent to him. And they really start championing him and telling him, you haven't lost any of this. You're just doubting yourself. And if you believe, you can be strong enough to go in there and save Superman yourself.
In a scene reminiscent of Spider-Man 33, he picks the rock up off of himself, goes and flies off to help save the day. Which I thought that was a pretty cool part of the story. Because
it's the best part of the story.
Yeah, everybody experiences doubt at some point, and even someone as powerful as Captain Marvel. And is he General Silvana by this point?
I think he's Admiral of Silvana, maybe.
So he is able to come in and help him, which I guess gives Superman a chance to save his counterpart.
Which is very important because Superman was getting his butt kicked, Joe. And that was the best part, is when you see the fist coming through the side panel, you realize that Dr. Silvana is about to get his butt whooped. I guess he's Admiral Silvana at this point. And they kind of, they thwart him at this point. Obviously, they've taken care of him. But as Breed mentioned, Superman's like, there's another Superman out there. There's a Superman of Earth 2. I got to go save him. And we start getting the other members of the Captain Marvel family show up and whatnot, and they kind of deal with them. So I don't know. It's one of those DC things back in the day where everything kind of always put a nice bow on it. It kind of ended somewhat abruptly, but this is a really fun story. There's a lot of good stuff going in here, and it kind of teases on the cover that you might see Superman and Shazam fight, but that doesn't happen. They're friends.
Yeah, no, you don't get that, but you get you know, it's a satisfying ending there because you do get Captain Marvel getting a few licks in before the wizard wakes up and takes Dr. Silvana's power away. So, you know, you get that satisfaction. You want him punched in the face a couple of times first.
This is a fun, short little story. Obviously, this is pre-crisis. Things change a little bit in the not-too-distant future after this one, but it's really good to see a nice Superman Shazam team-up book. These things are always a lot of fun. Two characters with somewhat similar power sets, but Superman, he's got a problem with magic, and Dr. Silvana was definitely dealing with magic in this one, Joe. I think that's why he was able to beat his butt so fast.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's I like when they play on that kind of stuff. I like that, you know, they were able to squeeze in, you know, Captain Marvel Jr. and Mary Marvel. You know, it's always, I see like those characters. I always like when like Mary Marvel shows up in a comic. So yeah, it's nice. You get a lot out of this. You know, it's an oversized issue, but you know, you get a ton of great fight scenes.
Oh, this thing's moving a mile in a minute. It gets a lot of stuff in a very short period of time.
Oh yeah, you know, I think it's definitely a very entertaining read. It was collected in the Adventures of Superman by Gil Kane hardcover.
Very true.
And you know, you can get the issue itself if you just want this, you know, depending on condition and all that, anywhere from like, you know, $5-10, something like that, maybe less if you're lucky. So
it's also reprinted in Shazam, the greatest stories ever told. So if you're a Shazam fan, you'll definitely get that one, or this and that story. And also Superman versus Shazam is another trade that they have with the story in it. So this is one of those stories that we've done where you can get your hands on it pretty easy if you need to.
Yeah, for sure.
So Joe, you've been the one curating the comic books. Where are we going next week?
Next week, we are going all the way into deep space with Ego the Living Planet in Thor number 133 from Stan and Jack.
That is going to be absolutely fantastic. So if you want to be ready for that retrospective, definitely get your copy of that. We'll be here next week. We love talking about Superman here on the retrospective. If you haven't seen our video about Alan Moore's Superman, that was a lot of fun talking about some Alan Moore takes on the character. He's an interesting creator. He's done a lot of weird stuff, but this man absolutely loves Superman. Definitely check this out.